Hi everyone, it's Nancy from Papercraft Arts. Hope everyone's doing well today. I'm back here with another project to share with you. These are fabric samplers. I'm sure this is not an original idea, but when I thought of it, I didn't get the idea from social media or, YouTube. And so I just went ahead and started, working with them and making them. So I thought I'd share my take on the idea with you. These are a few that I made. I decorated the top, cut out some scissors that I downloaded from the Graphics Fairy and the old design shop. And you just flip them up, and this is something you can include in a journal. And they're for the journaler to use. To add to their journal as they write in it. And this one is sewn on with what my mom used to call a basic basting stitch. It's like a size 5 on my Viking machine. It's fairly large, and but there's other ways you can attach them without using a sewing machine. This one I just paper clipped this, and I attached these little squares with staples, and as you can see, I used my pinking shears to cut around them instead of tearing the fabric. But on this one, I basically just tore the pieces out. It's a great way to use up your scraps. I have a bag here of scraps and pieces of fabric, and I basically went through and tore up some pieces. Other ones I cut. So this one, okay, so I showed you the staple one. This one, you can also attach them with tape if you want. This one I did with tape, and it's just various pieces that I had that I layered up. And they're layered in such a way that, they're staggered. So if, let's say, the journaler wanted this piece, you'll have to remove all the pieces together. And this one I put brads in the top to, close it. This one I did stitching. And the flap on this one is just closed with a piece of tape so that you can open it. In this one I included lace. And I thought later as I made these, I said, oh, well, you can add, let's add some lace to some of these. So this one I made out of old packaging. I'll show you some of the old packaging I used. And this one I made out of old packaging too, and I just covered it with paper. So those are my samples, and I thought I would show you how I made them. This one I pre-cut. I arranged the fabric already and made sure it was at the right length. The other one I didn't, and I basically did that so I could show you my process. So I thought this one we would attach with some tape and double-sided tape. And the other one we can try to attach with some staples. So let me go over some of the supplies you'll need in case you want to follow along. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac just to tack down the pieces before I staple them. So that's that. And then you'll need some double-sided tape if you're going to use tape. And if you're not going to use tape, you'll want a stapler that kind of has a long reach to it. So those is that. Let's see what else. You'll need some cardstock for your backing. This is just 60-pound weight cardstock. And if you want to use packaging, you can use these with the flip overs Those are the ones I use to make this one and this one. So, and this one I would probably cut down because I wouldn't want it to be that big. So those are those, and you can cover them with paper and decorate them however you want. So let's set this one a piece of paper aside. This first one, I'm gonna, I've got 3 layers here. I've got two samples right here and 2 here. And I kind of pick them according to colors, but if you're gonna do it to go inside of a journal, I would definitely pick any fabric that you used in the journal, or just, you know, color coordinate it with the journal, the colors of the journal. So I've got these laid out like this. Now what I'm gonna do is take my tape and I'm gonna remove these top 2 layers, and I'm gonna make a pencil mark right around where I want the tape to be. And I'll put a piece down. Rip it off. Lift that tape up and lay this piece down and this piece. They're so simple to make, and they take no time at all to make. Now I take my second layer here. Make sure I have it in the right place, because I want to leave enough room at the top to fold over. So let me just make sure I've got it right here. I think this piece goes, oop. It goes like that. This piece goes like that. Sticky fingers. And this piece goes like that. So, yeah, I can move them up just a little bit. Give it more there, like that. And I'll mark that on the side. Put my tape down. Right there. And when I put my tape down, I don't take it all the way to the edge. I leave it about an 1/8 of an inch or so in from the edge. Put this, actually I'm gonna do this side first. Kind of alternate the layers. And then this. And you know, you don't have to make your pieces perfectly square. They can overlap a little bit. And then this layer, put that on. And the lace. And mark this. And the tape, you know, it sticks to the fabric, but it also, you can pull fabric off of it and it won't tear. The size of this tape is 1/4 inch. And then I'll layer this piece on. Oop, a little bit close to the edge there. Move it in a little. And then this piece. Now as you notice, this piece is not entirely taped down, but that'll be fine like that. And this one, I'm gonna have to put the tape right over the fabric, but it should be okay. I'll just put a little piece on there, because this will come off. And then lay my lace on there. So there you've got your little fabric sampler. And now I want to fold this over. So I'm going to take a ruler, and that's one other supply. I think it's in the box. Yep. Is a little scoring tool like this, or something with a blunt end. I'm just going to make a score line. This is where I want it folded, so that's where I put my ruler. I'll line it up on my mat here. And that way I'm sure I'll get a straight line. And just score along that edge there. And then I'm going to take my corner rounder, another supply tool if you want to round the corners. I like the corners rounded. Flip it up here. And get that quite right there. There. Oops. And fold it over. Oops. I have to put that down there. On the score line. And get my bone folder. And just burnish that. And then you can staple the top down if you want, but I'm going to tape it down because I think that's the best way it works. So I put a little tape on the top. You wouldn't even have to put the tape all the way across. You could just put 2 small pieces on each side. And if you want to ink around this, you might want to do that before you fold the top down. And then all that's left to do is to decorate the top like I did this one. I put a little label on it and cut out those scissors. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And then there's the back of it. And you could clip this to a page. You could glue it down if you want. There's lots of ways you can include it in your journal, or you could stick it in a pocket if you want. So that's that one. Now I have these where I haven't actually cut the fabric down to size yet, so it layers right. So I have these 2 pieces of lace. I'm not sure if I'm going to include that one. And I have these 3 layers here. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll decide on the size of the card after I layer my fabric up. So here's my bottom layer. Now if I want a card that's about this tall or even a little bit shorter, I don't want the fabric to go too far up because then I can't layer these in a separate layer without the card getting too tall. Okay, so I might want to cut these down just a little bit because I want the journaler, what I'm getting at is I want the journaler to be able to see all of the layers here. So I'm thinking these will fit this way. I think this one covers up that layer, so I'll want to probably cut this down, and then the same with this one. And then there's also the lace, so maybe we'll make 4 layers here. Let's see, make sure I have the right side of the lace, which I'm never sure of totally. So I'm working with my layers here. I might speed up the video here so I don't bore you too much. And I've got this one at the top. So let's pull these down. Take these off. Yeah, I'm gonna shorten these two right here. So I'm gonna snip them about right there. Just tear that piece off and save it for a snippet. And then I'll take this piece and measure it. That one should, oh, this way, measure it this way, Nancy. Right here. Tear that one off. Most fabrics will tear easily. Sometimes you'll get one that doesn't want to tear, and that's when I just cut it. Okay, so here's this layer. Now maybe I don't want it this wide because this is gonna lay right on top, and I'd have to put a piece of tape right on top of this fabric. So I'm gonna narrow this down a little bit. Cut it right there. Save this for another fabric sampler. And so I have these two. And this one I'll probably have to shorten because I don't want my card to be too tall. So, because if I put it right there, that's a good size for the card, but it's hanging too low. So I'm gonna move it up and just trim it off a little bit. I think I'll just cut this right there. That looks pretty good. And then this one, of course, I will too, because this one's real long. So let's see. I'm gonna trim it off right about there. Now this one has been had. See, that one won't tear, so I'll cut it like that, and lay that one right there. And there you have basically your sample laid out. And I didn't use that. I'll set those aside, and then I'll take my cardstock, and I'm gonna use this cardstock right here. And you see that's the other side. And that's the side that's gonna show when you fold over your top. So I wanna make sure I have something that's not gonna look upside down like that butterfly. So I can either do it this way. I'll probably do it, or I could do it here, and that part would show, which would be pretty. Let's do it that way. So I move my sampler onto my cardstock. I give it a little bit of an edge here. Take my pencil. Let's even these up a little bit. Kind of wonky at the top. Like that. Okay. And I want to give myself enough room for a flap. Folding it about, you know, 1/4 of an inch above the fabric. And then a little bit of edge down here. So I'll mark it there. Mark it there. Oops. Let's erase that one. Go over just a little bit more. Because you can always trim it down. Okay, so I got my marks, and now I'm gonna go over and cut my paper, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I got my piece cut. I'm gonna bring my samplers back over on top of the card and make sure everything's in its place, which that looks pretty good. And move this down just a little bit so it doesn't interfere with my fold, and move this one over. Okay, I think we're good. Now I'm just gonna grab this bunch and remove it. So I'm left with these. I'm gonna take a little Fabri-Tac, just to tack it down a little bit, so when I go to staple it, it doesn't move out of place, because it can do that real easily. So just a little bit, just a dot or two, a little line like that. Okay, now take a stapler. Hope it reaches too. Ah, yes. Okay, now I'm probably gonna I'll put one right, let's see, I'll put one right there. Okay, so those are those two pieces. Then bring back this, and this is my next layer. Just want to make sure I got the spacing right, so I'm not left without anything at the top to fold over. Okay, so I got these two. Let's do this like this, like that. Take my Fabri-Tac. Just, you don't have to do this step if you don't want to, but I know how the fabric sticks to my fingers, so I'm gonna do it. So there, it's in place. Take my stapler and right there. Okay, and then my next layer will be the lace. Remove this. Okay. So I'm going to try this without the Fabri-Tac. I'm being brave here. Just want to make sure there's enough space between the top of this fabric and where I put the staple, so it doesn't go over this fabric. Okay. Here. Make sure this is in far enough. And there. Okay, now this layer. Take these threads off. And I think that looks pretty good. Turn it around. And I think I'll put another staple right here, but I don't want it to go into this piece of fabric because I want the journaler to be able to remove the staples and just be able to remove one piece of fabric. Okay, so that's done. Now, at the ruler, And we have another one made. Just like that. Now the staples are, if you do staples, they're going to show on the back of this. So you might want to consider putting another piece of cardstock over this, or start out with a plain cardstock and then put some decorative paper or cardstock over that. So, but if you're gonna glue it directly into your journal, you don't have to worry about that. So that's it. That's my project for today. I hope you liked it. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I also want to say welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon on the next project. Bye.